Oliver, and I am going to be your instructor for Critical Thinking, Humanities 115 here at JCC this semester. And I just want to give you a little bit of an introduction to the course, do the things that we would normally do in a seated course on the first day. So if you haven't printed out your syllabus yet, you might want to go onto our Blackboard page and do that, or have it open in a different screen, whatever works for you. My advice is always to print things out. Sometimes technology is not always accessible, and sometimes it's just nice to know here's what I'm supposed to do. So let me get started. Um, my name is Sandy Oliver. I've been a teacher at the college level for 25 years. I love teaching community college because it's a broad range of students, most of whom are students like I was. I am a first generation college student, lower economic level family, and my family is still kind of wondering what I'm doing with all this school stuff. So I understand what it's like to do something different from what your parents expected. And to do something that makes you different from your family. It's not easy. It is worth it, but it's not easy, and don't let anybody tell you that it is. Our class, University Studies and Educational Technologies, is our division. Our syllabus here, and I'm going to just kind of walk through this like I do with my seated classes. So you'll see me looking down. That's just all that is. Our class is a 3-credit class. You don't have to be enrolled in anything else to be in Humanities 115, but you have to be ready for English 111. So if you're taking some sort of English remedial class this semester, they're probably going to spit you out of the class. I haven't seen that list yet, so I'm not sure. The big thing that you need to keep in mind is that you really have until March 26th to decide whether or not you're going to stay in the class. On March 27th, that's out of your hands, okay? So keep that, write that down somewhere, put a note in your phone, whatever, that's the last day to drop for the semester without a grade penalty. Now, there are all kinds of ways you can get a penalty before that date, but that's a little bit later. We'll talk about that in attendance. I am a part-time, what we call an adjunct instructor, so I don't have a phone number for you to call me, and I don't have an office for you to visit me. If you need one-on-one attention, I can arrange to be on campus. My husband teaches here full-time, and he's here pretty much every day, so I can always come and be here. I have a couple of other teaching gigs that take up time from now and then, but I can be here if I really need to be. Otherwise, it's email. And so here's my information for you. My JCC email is skoliver@johnstoncc.edu. My husband's office is in Wilson, where the Student Center, Student Services, and Financial Aid, and all those horrible lines you have to wait in. We're upstairs. He's in 2048. You can drop things off for me there. Or you can use the USET, University Studies and Educational Technologies office administration lady, Ms. Terry Hill, is over there in Smith 106, and she can hold things for me as well. I have a box in the faculty lounge that students aren't allowed into, so you have to go to one of those 2 places if you have something physical to give me. If you do end up wanting to drop the course at some point, and I hate to talk about things like that at the beginning, but there it is, send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to forward that to the registrar. I hate to lose students, but I know sometimes life gets in the way, and we have to go on and do other things, so keep that in mind. This is a 100% online course, and so everything we do is virtual. That means you're going to be spending some time on Blackboard. You're going to be spending some time reading. We do have a physical book, The Power of Critical Thinking, the 6th edition. It has a brown cover. I've given you a picture of that on our Blackboard page. I was silly and left it sitting on my desk at home today, so I don't have a copy to hold up for you, but I think you can figure that out. We are going to be doing some things in this class that you probably have never done before, that don't get taught anywhere else on campus, which is why Humanities 115 is part of so many programs now. We do 2 chapters in our book on formal logic, basically enumerative logic and propositional logic and categorical logic, things that will help you be better problem solvers in the real world, be better problem solvers in your classes, and help you to walk through a process step by step by step. Be patient with yourself, be patient with the information, it'll get there. Our text, like I said, is a physical book. We're not doing an e-text this semester. That may change later on down the line, but right now we're still doing the regular textbook. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One is there's still a big digital divide out there, and it's hard to be able to watch a video and have a book open and do other things, especially for a lot of you who are working on tablets and phones. Working on Blackboard is a bit of a stretch for most of that, so I try to keep things as low-tech as I can. There are really good backup pages and student pages and protocols for our book, so make sure that you kind of look those up. I know you guys are pros at looking things up on Google. We have a little bit about introductions. Like I said, I'm a first-generation college student. I have been teaching for a long time. I'm in my 5th year here at JCC, and I wrote a Meet the Teacher discussion board for our first introductions, and I'd like for you to model that. I'd like for you to take a look at it and see kind of how I put things together and what I talk about, and do the same for your own introduction. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, why you're at JCC, what you hope to do, okay, today. Nobody's going to come back and bounce on you later on if, oh, well, you didn't become this. Our lives change. We think one thing and then we find out, oh, this is really what I'm supposed to be doing. I know it's happened to me more than once, so I can't imagine that it won't happen to you. But give us a place to start. I will be in the discussion boards quite a bit to reply, to answer questions, to give kudos, to give some directions, that kind of thing. But mostly I like for those discussion boards to be you as students working with each other, talking to each other. Just remember, keep things professional, keep things encouraging, be respectful, and we'll all get along just fine. We will have in this class 3 papers. Each of them is worth 10% of your final grade. It's a weighted grade course. This kind of weighted, like you use in the gym, means certain assignments have more pull. Okay? Certain assignments have more pull than others. A homework assignment, for instance, is part of your homework grade, which is 20% of your overall grade. Okay? So if we have 40 or so homework assignments, each one of those is worth this little tiny bit, right? Your paper, the final draft of a paper, an exam, and we have 4 of those are worth 10% of the grade overall. And so you can see on the second page of the syllabus, it kind of lays things out. It all adds up to 100. So we have 4 exams. Chapters 1 through 3 go together. 4 and 5 go together. 6 and 7 are formal logic chapters. They go together. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, which is pretty much the fun part, they go together as a test as well. I don't have a cumulative exam at the end. The tests are already published. It's up to you to be respectful of that and to use them ethically. I like to do a couple of things. One is I keep on Blackboard, there's a current Blackboard grade. Okay, Blackboard figures that automatically, and because I wait until the drop dead deadline for certain things, I don't put zeros in right away. I want to give you space. I do take late work, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But just remember that the Blackboard current grade is up to date in as much as you are up to date. If you're behind, that means that the grade is probably more optimistic than you need to be. Case in point, if we get to the second test, which is chapters 4 and 5, and you still have outstanding work in chapter 1, I'm going to after that second test, I'm going to pop zeros in, and that will change your grade dramatically. It's one of those things where I want to give you space, but I also want you to realize that even though Blackboard may say, oh, you have a 97, in your heart of hearts, you know that's not true. If you haven't done all the work, there's no way you can have a 97. So keep that in mind, be reasonable, okay? If at any point you want to know, hey, what's my grade right now? Shoot me an email. I'll be happy to do the math and send you a grade. No big deal, okay? I grade things in batches. Usually I grade things once or twice a week. It may be more than that this semester. Depends upon how the rest of my life works out. Yeah, I kind of have a life outside of class. I make sure that I have things graded within a week of their due date. Now, if you're late with an assignment, it might not be graded within a week of its due date. Sometimes that's impossible. But I will grade things up to date. If you're waiting for something in particular, like I said, shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to push out some other things and get some last minute stuff done. If you are involved with a scholarship program or a work study program where you need to have your grades figured out on an every other week or every monthly basis, make sure you send me an email. Okay, I can only do that if you send me an email and request that. There's something called a FERPA law, the Federal Education Act here, that I can't give somebody else your grades without your permission, which is good for you. Okay, so help me be good for you. I do take late work. I know we all have other things going on, and sometimes they're more important than school. So if you're late, things only lose 10%. If you know things are going to be late, it's Thursday morning, and yikes, you have 4 things to do, and that's not going to happen because you have to work today, or your kid's sick, or you're sick, or whatever. Shoot me an email, ask for an extension. I can tell you 90 times out of 100, I grant extensions because I know everybody has things going on that tend to get in the way. Don't make a habit of it. School can't be last on the list all the time, or perhaps maybe this isn't your season to be in school. If your assignment's late without an extension, it loses 10%. It's also not eligible for extra credit. I don't give extra credit assignments, but I do give extra credit for extra work. One of those ways of getting extra work is to do more than is required, whether it's on a reading log or homework or test. And that can get you extra points, and those things can add up and help kind of balance out those days when we don't have time for that stuff. There are like I said before, drop dead due dates. At the end of Unit 2, which is when we have our Exam 2, chapters 1 through 5, anything that was due from those chapters will no longer be accepted. They become permanent zeros. I do things for 6 and 7 because it is such a we've never seen anything like this before kind of work. I don't want to drag that on past the test date. Excuse me. So a week after the test, I will cut that off and put everything as zeros, move on with your life kind of thing. And then at the end of the semester, it's a built-in due date. Our last day for any kind of work for this class, except for test number 4, is May 7th. It's a Thursday. I give you an extra day to get the test in, and then our grades are due the following Monday. So you'll know within the weekend how you did. Remember, this is an online class. This is not a self-pace. We have deadlines. Every week, our normal deadline is Thursday night at 11:59 p.m. I always get questions, why Thursday night? Well, of the major religions in this country, we have Friday Holy Day, Saturday Holy Day, Sunday Holy Day. I don't want any of my students to have to work on their holy day. So I make my deadline on Thursday night. That also gives folks a little bit of wiggle room to get things in before the weekend. If you need that. It also gives me time to get things graded, not on my holy day. And so it works out the best that I have found throughout my years of doing this. Um, Now, that being said, you don't have to wait until Monday to start working on this week's work. I try to keep at least 2 weeks out ahead. I try to start out with the whole first unit up, and yay, it is up. Um, I would love to say I start every semester with the whole class put up in Blackboard and everything's all ready for you. Um, doesn't always happen. There may be a few more weeks up before we get done and start classes on the 7th, but there you go. Just keep an eye on things. The due dates are set. Um, it'll remind you or it'll show you things in Blackboard. You can set up your notifications to notify you 24 hours before every due date, and it will bing, 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 give you little notifications. You guys know all about that kind of stuff. Um, if you're trying to be successful in college, your best thing is to read the directions, pay attention, write things down. And I know, digital and online and all of that. But it's still a good thing to have a planner, whether that's electronic planner or whether that's a physical planner, some place where you touch base with yourself about what you're going to do this week. Make a plan. And I know, it doesn't always happen. One of the things that come up occasionally is, well, Blackboard ate my homework. Sometimes it does. I'll give you that. It does time out in kind of strange ways, and it doesn't usually save things for you. Sometimes you can get it back if you hit the back button, the back arrow, but not always. So my advice to you is to do your work in Word and then post it, copy and paste, whatever you got to do that way, but have something that holds on to it for you because Blackboard doesn't always. We do have an attendance policy, and I'm already on page 4 in your syllabus. Officially, you have to post at least one item from that week's work on time for that date to get present attendance for that day. Okay, so like down the road, chapter 4. Okay, so for chapter 4, you have your reading log, you have your exercises, and you have a discussion board. As long as you post one of those, you get counted present for the whole week. Okay, now I tend to run my life on 2-day-a-week classes. Okay, so I have up on my little grade sheet. Okay, so you have a post and a response and 2 responses for discussion board. You have your exercises. You have your reading log. Okay, so you have 4 things to do. However you want to break that up. You can do one thing a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and be happy. It's fine. Not always going to work that way. Some weeks you have more individual pieces to do than that. You will always have more than one assignment per week. We just can't make it run other than that. Either that or it's this huge assignment, and I don't want to do that to you either. Make sure you're giving yourself enough time. Make sure that you're looking at the week ahead as you finish the current week and see what you have to do. Don't let things surprise you. This is a fairly rigorous class, but it's not impossible. Okay, every semester I have half a dozen folks who max out all the extra credit and get over 100% in the class. Every semester I also have at least 1 or 2 folks who don't pass because they don't do enough of the work. It's not that they couldn't, it's just that they didn't. Don't be one of those folks. Back to attendance. If you don't turn things in by the due date, by Thursday night, you end up with an absence. If you get it to me or you've got an extension, of course that changes your attendance stuff for the better. If you don't have an extension, you just space doing it or decide other things are more important that you don't want to tell me about, and you get a couple of those, you're okay. There are 2 days a week, okay, so I'll keep a line of attendance. If you hit 5, I have to drop you from the class. So anything more than 2 weeks worth of work that you have not turned in um, means that you'll get dropped from the course. And that's a state requirement. You have to spend so many hours in class or it doesn't count. And that's the limit on that. 2 weeks for free, more than 2 weeks, and it's a WF on your transcript, which means you have to take the course again, and it messes up your GPA, and it can mess up your financial aid. So pay attention, be big people, do what you got to do. Okay. If you are a concurrent enrollment student, your normal testing things shouldn't impact your online classes. If they do, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you out with that. But just keep that in mind that there are things you can do to not be counted absent for certain things. State mandated testing is one of them, but also something horrific happens in your life, keep me in the loop. I'd be more than happy to work with you to get things caught up. If you feel that I am being unfair or unreasonable, please let me know. Okay, I'm more than happy to rethink, restep, figure things out. I want this to be a positive experience for you. I want this to go well for you. I want you to learn a lot. And sometimes I get over enthusiastic. So if you need to tell me to come down a little bit, that's okay. I can do it. Send me an email. Um, JCC and especially my department, the USET, we really want to encourage students to take charge of their own learning, to take charge of their own ideas. And so if I get in the way of that, talk to me about it. More than happy to restructure, rethink. If we can't come to an agreement, I have my chair, department chair, is Elizabeth Baker, and we can talk with her. And if that doesn't fix things, my associate vice president, Mrs. Dawn Dixon, will be the arbiter on that. They are both very kind and caring, but they do understand the rules and the legalities of things probably better than any of us. So keep that in mind. First line is always your faculty member, whether it's me or somebody else that you think is not doing what they should do. Please, please, please let me know. 9 times out of 10, it's a misunderstanding. Every once in a while, I make mistakes. I'm a human being just like you. I make mistakes, and I'm more than happy to own up to those. I'm more than happy to apologize and try to make things right. So give me a chance. Okay. There's also, I want to walk through very briefly, so I don't spend all of your day on here, the major assignments and due dates. One thing first is that we have 3 holidays this term. Martin Luther King Day is Monday, January 20th. No assignments can be due that day. I would encourage you to follow step and do an act of service of some sort that day in honor of Dr. King. Our spring break, hooray hurrah, is March 2nd through the 6th. That's just the Monday through Friday dates, obviously before and after, that kind of thing. Easter break is April 8th through 10th. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that week is a short week. It's week 13 in our assignments weeks. And our assignments will be due April 7th, which is a Tuesday. So that week is very brief. It's a partial chapter for us anyway. Exam 1 will be due February 2nd. Paper 1's final draft will be due February 13th. And it goes on from there. A couple of things I want to mention to you. I think I've gone through almost all of this. In your major assignments, there's a link on the left side of Blackboard page that says major assignments. If you click on that, you're going to see some folders for the 3 papers, paper 1, paper 2, and the capstone project is paper 3. I've got a link up there for our exams, study guides as well for those. And I've got videos up for them already, but just remember that what I want you to do for the study guide is at the very bottom. and anything else you do is extra credit. Okay, so kind of look at that. For the regular work, for homework, what counts as homework are rough drafts, summaries, that kind of stuff for the papers, exercises from the chapters, and discussion board, both your post and the 2 replies that you're supposed to do every week. That goes in that 20% category. Reading logs are your making sense of each chapter or each portion of a chapter. When they start getting long or technical, I break them apart so we don't have so much to digest all at once. Those are basically 1 page of work, however you want to do 1 page of work. So if you give me, 3 or 4 lines, you're not going to get full credit. But you can write an outline, you can just take notes and take a picture of it and send it to me. And that's true for any homework. If you would rather write things out by hand, for whatever reason, then by all means do that. Take a picture, send them up on Blackboard. You can save that on your phone, and then you can just pop it up into Blackboard. If Blackboard gives you any trouble, send things to my email. I'm more than happy to grade from there as well, and I'll pop the scores in on Blackboard, so you'll still get to see what you got. Okay. I hope that answers most of your questions. Oh, one more thing. For the homework, for the reading logs, for discussion board, I have up on Blackboard in that major assignments area some samples and kind of my rationale / rubric for how I want you to do them. Really, I want these to be useful for you. I have not gone overboard with homework. I want you to be able to do a little piece from each of the exercises to help you out, and to look at kind of what's going to come on a test and also what's going to happen in life in general with these things. If you're interested in what makes fake news fake, that's chapter 4. If you're interested in logic and worldview and ethics and legalities, we walk through a whole lot of fun things like that this semester. So stay with me, do your best work, and give me any information that you like. I'm more than happy to help. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction. I don't know all the answers, obviously, but I'm happy to help you look. Okay, so I hope we get a great semester. I hope you have a good time in the class, and I hope you learn a lot. So keep me in mind. Okay, bye.